finish out our courageous conversations on youth sports injuries. Last night, Daniel Shedd focused on the importance of having trainers and ambulances at high school athletic contests.
And we turn our attention now tonight to the plans in place that keep schools prepared when disaster strikes.
Jen and David, we all remember going through fire drills as a kid at school. Emergency action plans serve the same purpose for athletic departments. They're a well thought out plan for the unthinkable. But a recent survey shows that 10% of schools in Missouri don't have one in place.
When an emergency does arise, that brings on heightened emotion, adrenaline starts going, and it's not really a situation where you're able to think clearly in the moment.
Whether in the classroom or on the court, Tyler Overstreet is at the front lines of keeping students safe.
You know, there's an old saying, prior preparation prevents poor performance, and you know, always having a plan and then even having a backup plan.
As the principal of Republic High School, his administration relies on an emergency action plan.
Basically a procedure and protocol for any facility that you have on campus.
Everyone is familiar with a fire drill, but these EAPs also translate directly into athletics.
When you look at it, football is such a contact sport. There's a lot of different injuries that can take place.
Now, an emergency action plan includes the basics, like who's taking care of an injured athlete on the football field, but it also includes things that might go unnoticed, like who's unlocking the double-wide gate so an ambulance can access the field. Cox Health is the service provider for the Republic School District.
So time is the most important factor, just like it is in all of the world.
And Dr. Shannon Woods leads the Cox Health Sports Medicine Program.
Every school district is different and their needs are different, and so we try and adapt what we're doing to their facilities, because that's going to make a difference in what you do. Not every school district is laid out exactly the same. They may not have the same supplies, and so we need to make sure that we try and bring everybody to a par level where everybody is equal.
The Missouri State High School Athletics Association states that all schools should have a written and rehearsed emergency plan, but 10% of schools responding to their 2015 survey report that their school district does not have a plan in place.
I would have to say that 100% of our schools have an emergency action plan in place, on paper somewhere. It's whether they're actively using it or not.
Harvey Richards is the Associate Executive Director with MISHA.
One of your practices should be the greatest X's and O's, should be a practice of what you do with your emergency action plan. You know, a simulated accident, something has to occur, what are you going to do, what's your team going to do, and everything else.
Every school should have an emergency action plan.
Jim Rayner is the director of Mercy Sports Medicine.
What if there isn't a lane for the emergency transport vehicles to access the playing venue? What happens if the gate that was supposed to be open is locked? Those are the things that the emergency action plan needs to address, and they need to be addressed in a simplified manner, comprehensive but simplified manner, that anyone can be a participant.
MISHA has guidelines for an emergency action plan posted on its website. It should include personnel responsibilities in case of an emergency, lines of communication between the school, athletes, and emergency personnel, equipment such as AEDs, as well as information about the athletes and venues where the sports are being played. Planning and preparation, though, are just the first steps in the equation.
Those emergency action plans are living, breathing documents. It's never something that you build and you say this is good enough. It's something that you continue to evaluate and find better ways to do things in the future.
And unlike athletic trainers or medical personnel, emergency action plans cost only planning and preparation. Parents should ask if their school not only has one in place, but also if it's practiced on a regular basis. It may even be worth asking what your role could be if an emergency ever presented itself.